I'm Elle,
And I'm Janelle.
and this is the Murder Mamas.
Hello.
Hello,
Welcome back.
welcome. So we seem to not be able to do these like once a week, so I think we're gonna switch it to every other week, and we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Just to let you guys know, if anyone cares out there. Oh, okay. So today we're gonna talk about what Jennifer did. Now
What
I
did
knew this story. Did you not know this
I
story
did
before?
not know this story.
Okay.
And I feel like we're going to start off strong right off the bat.
Yeah.
I could have found out what Jennifer did
Yeah.
in like 40 minutes instead of an
Almost.
hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
Just,
Sure. Just based on
yeah.
They dragged it out. Yeah.
So much. I was like,
Yeah.
please hurry.
Yeah.
Please hurry. And normally I have like patience. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm willing to like sit back and just chill and relax as long as like it makes sense.
Sure.
And this one I'm like,
No.
well, I know she did it. Her name is Jennifer. Like, I already know.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
cut to the fucking chase, man.
Yeah. It was a
That's
little-
what I thought.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So we start off with a 911 call by Jennifer, and she's like, I don't know where my parents are, or my parent. Did she say they're shot, or she doesn't know where they are,
He
or
said, I don't know what happened.
what happened?
I heard two things. It sounded like a pop pop.
Yeah.
And it's like a frantic.
Yeah, it's very frantic. They were trying to calm her down, and she was not very calm.
Yes.
So it sounds legit, like from the beginning. You're like, oh my God, this girl just heard her parents being shot to death and like she doesn't know what to do. But we learn that her mom is dead and her dad is in like critical condition,
He's in a coma.
in a coma.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has been shot in the head, I think.
In the eye.
Like in the eye.
What the fuck?
Or right next to his eye.
Yeah. I don't
Anyways,
know.
in the face.
In the face. That's a hardcore one.
And he's in a coma.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where this all picks up.
Yeah. And then the story starts. So their name is the Pan family, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And they are considered hardworking people. They immigrated not that long ago to
Canada,
Ontario, yeah.
Yeah.
From Vietnam.
Correct.
Yeah. And so, the police were getting there or were learning that they weren't like a millionaire house, like, because the cops are like, why would they target this house? And Jennifer says in one of her interviews that they have money in the bank, but like it's enough to pay the bills. It's not like they have millions in the bank. So like
Correct.
they shouldn't be targeted for money at all.
Correct.
And there was money found at the scene. So if it was for money or robbery, they left a bunch of $20 bills, I guess, laying around.
Well, and I think they left some other like valuables
Yeah.
too, like rings and jewelry and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But then they also mention that like they drove nicer cars.
They did.
and
They
their
had a
house was
Lexus
paid
and a
off.
Mercedes or something, which are nicer cars.
Yeah, and the house was fully paid off.
Yeah, I was like, I know. I was like, damn.
damn.
Good on you
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
Okay, frugal.
I know, right? Shit. Yeah, that's not me. Our house will never be paid off. 30-year loan? Nah, let's make it an 80-year loan.
Like a 110-year low. Yeah, that'll be someone else's problem one day. Just a bunch of HELOCs on it. Turn it into your kid's problem when you're dead. Anywho, back to the story.
Yeah.
So there was not a clear understanding
Yeah.
of why they would be targeted.
Yeah.
And the police questioned her. And I'm like, this feels scripted.
Yeah.
Like rehearsed almost.
Yeah.
But then she starts crying and I'm like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, like, she's just really quiet of her questioning. And I'm like,
On day one.
yes,
There's
her
different-
first,
yeah,
her
the
first
first-
day of questioning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, maybe, I don't know. I wasn't quite sure what
Right.
Jennifer did
Right.
at that point.
Yeah. So she says that, was it 3 men? Did she
Yes.
say 3 men come in, they tie her up
Upstairs.
upstairs.
Like against the banister.
Yeah, so she can't come downstairs.
Correct.
and they go back downstairs and kill her parents or
Correct.
shoot her parents, and then they leave. Again, they didn't take anything of value, so why did this happen? Then she obviously gets undone and calls the police. But she was saying, she could hear the men saying something, and then her mom was trying to answer, but her mom's English wasn't very good, so she thinks that her mom didn't understand what the men were trying to say to her, and they were like, "Where's your purse? Give me your wallet." And she didn't understand that, and so maybe that's why they were shot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's trying, like, the vibe I get from her is that she's trying to sort of, like, really sway the narrative
Yeah.
of, like, what happened.
Yeah, that's true. I get that too.
Even though she didn't see anything.
Right.
Like, she didn't make an effort to get herself out of handcuffs or the ties or whatever.
Right.
She didn't really do anything to like help or protect them.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very suspicious.
Yeah, that is suspicious. I agree. And then we go to day 2
Of questioning.
of questioning. Yeah. And the police said that they were going house to house asking like if they heard anything or if they knew anything about this family. I don't think they found much.
No, they didn't find anything.
Yeah.
They just sort of found that like the family was pretty quiet and like kept to themselves and just like literally just like went to work and came home and that was that. Like they weren't problematic. There wasn't a lot of bad like it wasn't like the daughter throws parties when they're not around. Like it wasn't anything like that. So the police are still just like, why this family? Like why the Pan family?
Right.
What is the point?
What is the point?
And
well, we learn during this day that she has a ex-boyfriend.
Correct.
Danny, who was a drug dealer.
Correct.
Or is a drug dealer. I don't know.
Maybe was at this point.
Yeah, maybe was.
Who knows?
And so they were like, why didn't you tell us about him? Like that's like a huge red flag that you're dating someone who's a drug dealer. Like,
yeah, like as we're looking for motive, like was this targeted because of him?
Did he know that they have stacks of cash hidden in their house or something? Like that's what they're asking.
And so then the police bring Danny in for questioning.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, too, they're still telling this community, which doesn't see a lot of murders. No. They're like, this is a random event. Like, this is not something that is, like, a bigger issue.
Yeah. And like, nothing happened there. Very quiet.
They set up, like, a patrol in the area and that sort of stuff, too. But then they bring Danny in, and they're like, hey, Danny, what's your story? And Danny's like, oh, well, Jennifer is crazy.
Yeah. And we're not dating.
Yeah. We were
dating.
But now she calls me and my current girlfriend, Christine, upwards of like 100 times a day.
Yeah. Which is why? How do you have time for that? Why would you do that? Who sits there and like does that? And she just like calls and then they don't hear anything and she just hangs up. It's not even she's saying anything.
I can't fathom doing that.
No.
Or like being that
desperate,
obsessed with someone to do that.
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
So he sort of outlines like the nature of what she's saying on these calls and does say that she's getting like rudely word that she's getting like violent or like making threats.
Yeah.
Sort of like it's escalating.
Yeah. And then day 3 comes. Like it just kind of all rolls.
Like, yeah, it's like back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
So they bring her back in for questioning.
Yeah. Well, they asked Danny. This is day 3 though. He was arrested for trafficking and possession. So he was like a drug dealer, but I don't think he does it anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe he is. He wasn't going to tell the cops, yeah, I'm still a drug dealer. Like, why would you say that? Yeah. So he actually was or is. But So we find out that her parents are very strict. Like, they don't want her doing anything but homework and go to bed and do the same thing every day.
Yeah, I mean, we that sort of does unfold too, and we hear from maybe someone like that she had gone to high school with, who sort of says like it's a big immigrant community, and
Right.
so the standards that the immigrant parents have for their kids are very, very high.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of kids are leaving their high school and they're going on to be doctors,
Yeah.
dentists, lawyers, like all of these very prestigious professions. And everyone's sort of competing to be like top of their class. And I think this friend from high school says, like, I don't think Jennifer was even middle of the class. Like, it was,
Yeah.
she wasn't even close.
She didn't care.
She didn't care
Yeah.
because she really cared about Danny.
Dang, that was it. That was her whole life.
And the friend also mentions, like, that they didn't really care for Danny.
Yeah.
And that they were kind of like, well, like, why are you spending your time with this
Right.
person? Like, this is not a good person to
Yeah.
associate with.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned, like, that story, or not the story, but where they told a story about how she had saved all of this money and, like, scrounged up and ended up using all of that money to, like, buy something that Danny wanted.
Right.
Rather than, and when they questioned her on it, like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're like, he clearly can buy his own thing.
Right.
The drug dealer. And she was like, there's not, like, I don't have any value.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like, she didn't think highly of herself.
Yeah. Which is sad.
It is kind of sad.
Yeah, I think.
But this is like the biggest twist coming up. So, in her last day of questioning,
Yeah.
right? This is the last day of questioning.
Yeah.
They find that, well, she admits
Yeah.
that she had never gone to college.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, what?
Huh.
That's interesting. So, like, sort of everything, all the dominoes start to fall.
Yeah.
I thought that was, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So they find out that she's, like, forged a degree.
Yeah.
That she's forged, like, student loan documents.
Right.
Like, all of these things, and her parents have been paying tuition
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
And driving her to school.
Right.
And picking her up from school every day.
Which has to be extremely stressful, I would think.
I would have, I don't want to say, I would have constant bowel issues from the stress.
Yeah, I don't...
Like, there's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way I could lie to someone like that.
No.
I would be so afraid of getting caught constantly. I'm afraid of getting caught in lies I don't tell.
Right.
Like,
You are.
I'm afraid that someone's going to be like, I know you're lying. And I'm like, what? Like, maybe I was lying. Yes.
Yeah, I that's a lot. That's a huge lie.
It's a huge lie for years. It's like double life status. So the detectives are like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Come again?
Yeah.
And so she just tells them, like, yeah, I just lied. I didn't want to be a pharmacist. She wanted to do, I think she had said, like, sports therapy or like kinesiology or something. Yeah. And her dad felt that that wasn't, like, prestigious enough of a medical field, but knew that she couldn't stomach being a doctor.
Right.
Which, like, I respect that.
I respect that, but, like, if your kid wants to be something, like, let them be. Who cares if it's not high enough? I mean, they could always change jobs, like, after a while. I don't know. I wouldn't say that to my child.
I feel like I can't put myself in the shoes of the parents who, like, left everything they knew to come to a foreign country to give their child the best shot of, like, a good, quote unquote, like, good life or better life.
Yeah.
And not feel disappointed if the kid didn't see that sacrifice.
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say yes or no, but I can see why the parent would have such high standards and expectations. I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
But I can, like, mentally I can get it.
Yeah, I guess.
A little bit.
But then also, not everybody's smart enough to be a doctor. Like, that's okay.
I agree.
I think.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor.
No, you're not.
Not at all. I know that.
Yeah.
So, like, if my parents were, even if they immigrated, I'd be like, I'm sorry, but that's never going to happen.
But you showed such promise in preschool.
Preschool was 100. Woo! Let's go.
Yeah, no, I'm fully on board of like supporting our kids in whatever
Yeah.
they want to do. But
Yeah.
her parents weren't.
No, they weren't.
And so they ended up dead.
Yeah. Well, not both of them, just one of them.
Dead and almost dead.
Yeah.
Attempted dead.
Yeah. And the police are allowed to lie in Canada.
Just like in the US.
Just like in the US. So they do like...
Probably everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I don't know. I'm assuming that not everywhere because that's what... I don't know why they would mention that.
Probably to make themselves look better or feel okay about the way they conduct an investigation as they're lying to someone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And so then we get to... This is like when the guys come in, homeboy, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does she...
Well, no, not yet. Because then they bring her in for questioning with like the truth verification.
Right.
Yeah. He's not a homicide detective. No. He's like
he can tell if you're lying.
Human lie detector or something. Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it, I think.
They literally, he literally says like, I'm here for truth verification.
Right. If some guy did that to me, I'd be like, oh fuck.
I'm already lying. I'm thinking lies out of mind. Yeah. My anxiety could never.
No.
Never. I could never.
No.
I would not survive.
I wouldn't either.
So they bring him in and he starts talking to her. And so he's sort of like breaking down the story and he's like, listen. Oh, we left out the biggest thing.
What?
The dad wakes up from the coma.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they're waiting to see if we can have a second person, a witness.
Because the only other witness there is currently in a coma. So he wakes up from the coma. Yeah. And he's like, this is what I saw. Like, there were men that showed up. And I think they saw video footage, too, of 3 men coming up to the house.
Yeah, but it's very fuzzy.
It is so fuzzy.
Like, I wouldn't even seen them. Like, if I was watching, like, it just looks like a blob. That
like a little apparition.
Yeah. I wouldn't have known that was the person.
But there's no signs of forced entry at all. So then the police are like, why is they just being let in?
Right.
Well, because they were invited.
Yeah.
So the dad wakes up and they go and they question him and they're like, hi, what's going on? Yeah. What happened? He's like, there was someone, like, they shot me, but they look like this. And the description didn't match the description that Jennifer had given.
Right.
So then they keep questioning the dad about what happened and what he can remember, like what he saw. And
mind you, he's been shot in the face. Like, this has got to be very hard.
Well, and then we really sadly find out that her mom's last thing as they were about to kill her was basically saying, like, begging that they didn't hurt her daughter.
Yeah.
Just
that
one made me really sad.
That's a gut punch.
Yeah. So then the dad says, like, I don't really know, but you need to ask Jennifer what she did.
Yeah.
And that Jennifer was, like, talking to these intruders. Mm-hmm. Like, a friendly conversation. Yeah. So then the police are like, okay.
Yeah, here we go.
So this is when the truth verification guy comes in. And he brings Jennifer back in. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, he's awake.
Yeah.
Are you ready to tell us what happened?
Right.
And that's when she builds it all. Yeah.
So how did she got in touch with homeboy through Daniel, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But we find out too that this wasn't the first time or the first person that she had tried to get to hire to kill her parents.
Yeah. He tried before from a high school friend, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And had, like, even paid them money.
Paid them
and then that person was like,
no,
nah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. So they backed out. So this is the second time that she's tried to do this, which is very scary. I think, oh my God, what if your kid was like plotting your death? I can't imagine.
Dude,
Like,
someone I went to high school with, their brother murdered their mom
oh my God.
and lit the house on fire.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And like lit the car that he was in on fire, like after it. It's like a whole thing. I can send you a link. I don't want to talk about it because it's like really sad. But I've like gone to school with this
that's
person for
crazy.
Middle school, high school, like for a long time. College.
Oh my God.
Like a long time.
Yeah.
Really, really sad.
Yeah. But she finds through Daniel a guy named Homeboy.
Correct.
Or Homie, as she says. I don't know.
Yeah. So she contacts this person, Homeboy. Well, this is the story she's telling.
Yeah.
Is that she reaches out to Danny to like inquire about this because apparently her whole like I've lied for many years about going to school thing has blown up in her face because now her parents know that she's lied and they're like, okay, you need to pay us all the money we paid.
Right. Like, where was that money
tuition?
Going? Yeah.
You need to pay us back. And she's like, fuck. How am I supposed to do that?
Right.
So that's...
Which I would think would be a considerable amount of money because if you're paying tuition...
I don't know how it is in Canada. Like some, countries that aren't America.
Yeah, that's true.
Their
I don't know.
College is less
expensive. Yeah, maybe.
Than it is here. But
still.
It's still a considerable amount of money.
Yeah.
And I guess there was like some money that she was supposed to get from her parents for something. Mm-hmm. And her dad was pretty much like, no, like you fucked this up.
Yeah.
Now you get to wait until I die.
Yeah.
Like that's when you get your $500,000 and the house and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she was like, bet.
Okay.
Well, I will speed up that timeline. So she reaches out to Danny and she's like, Danny, can you find someone who can kill my parents? And Danny's like, I guess so.
Yeah.
Rather than like, no,
don't do that.
The reasonable answer.
Right.
Of like, no, no, thank you.
Right.
He's like, yeah, sure. So he connects them and then they set this whole plan in motion. And so what happens is they schedule for it to be like at this date and then her dad is home, her mom is out line dancing. She waits until her mom comes home from line dancing, goes downstairs, says goodnight to her mom, and then unlocks the door to like allow the entry.
Them to come in,
and literally just leaves her parents as like sitting ducks. She goes back upstairs, sends a text message, and then flicks the lights on and off to like signal to them that it's time.
Yeah.
And they come in and then they kill the parents.
Yep.
Well, try for the dad. Yeah. And then that's sort of where everything ends.
Yeah.
We did forget to mention though that earlier the police that are initially investigating her, they always had questions about how, like her story from the beginning, because she says, I made a phone call with my hands tied behind my back.
Yeah.
And the cop is like, how did you make a phone call with your hands tied behind your back? So they have her demonstrate it.
Yeah.
And she's able to do it, but the cop's like, and how did you hear what they were saying?
Right.
I'm like, well, she could have put them on speaker.
Yeah.
Like, that is kind of a dumb question.
Right.
But she was able to do it. Like, take the phone out of her pocket. So I'm like, did she rehearse that too?
Yes, probably.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm sure she did.
So they end up arresting Homeboy and I think Danny on like accessory or
intent.
What's the charge called?
Intent to murder.
No, it's another one.
No, I don't know. Conspiracy to commit murder. Yeah.
And she gets arrested.
She gets arrested for murder and conspiracy to commit murder, both of them.
Correct.
But so when she's talking, I want to say, remember when she said she hired them to take her out?
Oh yeah, she tries to say that it was like,
she wanted them to kill her because she wasn't worth anything anymore or whatever. So she tries to play that card first.
And I think she just realizes, like,
she's backed
the
up.
lies are not getting her
She's
anywhere. Like,
totally backed up into
the truth verifier is verifying the truth in real time.
Just looking at her like, you fucking lying piece of shit.
Yeah, like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so that's pretty much it.
That's what Jennifer did.
That's what Jennifer did.
And she says she did it because her parents were so overbearing.
Yeah.
And
she wanted the money.
She wanted the money.
Yeah.
She gotta wait it out.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Thanks.
That was a good one.